Hello everyone, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Audrya Dwiputri Anjani. Today I will present a presentation about an application for teaching English. Slide 1. The importance of technology in teaching English. According Haswani, in language class foreigners, teachers can formulate several strategies in the teaching and learning process. And according Budiman, rapidly developing technology delivers humans to interact with those who live far apart with more fast. Only with a small communication tool called cell phones or mobile phones, humans can exchange news quickly. So, the majority of students are motivated and interested in learning. One reason for using internet-based media. It's the easy of accessing lesson from their cell phones, and because it can be done anywhere at any time, both of school and out of school. Okay, here I want to tell the application which place for teaching English. Here are two applications for teaching English, Padlet and Socrative. First, Padlet. Padlet is an internet site that allows you to collaborate with other users with text, photos, link, and other content. And this is skill development. First, upgrade description text writing skill on 7th grade student in junior high school. And second, develop listening, speaking, reading, and writing skill. Each collaborative space is called a wall. It can also be used a private bulletin board. Teachers and companies use Padlet to encourage creative multimedia conversation and brainstorming. Language learning, English using the media. The Padlet managed to attract and improve the abilities of students in writing description text with easy, fun, and fast. Okay, here disadvantages and advantages Padlet. Advantages. First, download or view the materials again. And second, children can express themselves freely because they can add pictures, give voice note, and videos. And third, can communicate or discuss remotely. And disadvantages. First, internet network when accessing Padlet. And second, when we use the free version, we can only create a limited number of Padlet files. Okay, here is a video tutorial on how to use the Padlet application for learning.
Padlet primarily for its function to serve as a collaborative piece. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to our channel by clicking our logo during the video. Also give us feedback by clicking the pop-up cards in the upper right-hand corner. Once you've successfully logged into Padlet and created a username and password, you should come to a page that looks like this, and this is going to be your dashboard page, and there's a couple different things you can do here. Now, since I've already made quite a few Padlets, you'll see some of my examples listed below. This is where you can return to your Padlets to look back on them, where you can still join the Padlets. The Padlets are live unless you obviously turn off the submission acceptance. But for the most part, I just leave mine wide open just in case there's anything anybody wants to add and reflect on. But before we talk about all that, let's talk about what we can actually do from this dashboard page. You'll see here right at the top, nice little links or buttons rather. You can make a new Padlet, which we'll review here in just a second. You can join a Padlet, so if your students are looking to actually get in your Padlet, you can give them a link and they can go right into your Padlet page. Or you can view the gallery options and the template options that are there for you. There's been a lot of Padlets that have already been created on a lot of different categories, subjects, topics, so it might be in your interest to take a look at some of those options there. Also, the nice thing about Padlet is most of the free features, or the free version, gives you a lot of different options that you can use. So it's not something where you really need to upgrade to unleash its full potential. A lot of the cool things you can do with it are already free. You'll also see in the recent category, you can see your made Padlets, the shared Padlets. So the nice thing about Padlet 2 is, like I said earlier, you can share it with quite a few different people. And we'll go over this in just a minute, but you can decide whether you want those people to be administrators, collaborators, or just view only. So a lot like the sharing principles with the Google Apps, you can do a lot of the same things with your Padlet. So let's go ahead and get started with actually taking the time to create a Padlet. And to do that, it's very simple. You just go to Make a Padlet. And the cool thing about Padlet as well, it gives you quite a few different options of what you want your banner or your page to actually look like. So most of the time, and what I'll use, like I said, 99% of the time, will be this wall feature. And this can also serve kind of just as a collaborative type of interactive whiteboard where students can add all different types of files, whatever really they want to add, they can do so right here within the wall. I've played around with some of the canvas stream and grid, but the other one that I use quite often is the shelf. And I like that too as well, because it kind of can serve as like a back channel where students can post questions, or they can post any materials they find right to that Padlet page under different categories. But if you're a beginner, if you're just getting started with Padlet, I would probably recommend this wall section. You hit select, and your Padlet is started. So, and the nice thing about Padlet 2 is the design features and the editing features. Quite a few different things you can do. So let's take a look. First, Padlet gives you the option to obviously title your wall. So you can do that right over here. And we'll call it Test 1. And Made with Love, sure, that'll work. Let me put that right underneath. And this is where you can obviously write the description. You have a choice of quite a few different wallpapers, and if you don't like the options you have here, you can come down to More, and you can see there's a ton of options for you to choose depending on what the topic or theme of what your Padlet may be about. So let's just stick with the Christmas theme, since it's pretty close to Christmas. And so now that we have the title and description and our wallpaper, we can just go to Next. Now this is pretty important, because this is where you can determine who you want into your Padlet and what rights you want to give contributors to your Padlet. So let's go over a couple of those things here. So you can make your Padlet private, password protected, secret, which is pretty similar to like the unlisted feature in YouTube. If you don't want your YouTube video listed, that's kind of the same thing as the secret option, or public. Now most of the time I just choose public, because I don't believe there'd be too many people around going to check out Padlets. But if you're into security, or you want to increase your security, definitely check out this private or password protected options. So once you've decided what you want your privacy setting, you can decide what your collaborators, what access they have, or what rights they have. So you do that here. You can do Can Read, which is like the view only in our Google Suites. You can do the Can Write, which is the one most often teachers use if they're just looking to do like an exit slip or a check-in, or just have students collaborate. Or you can do Can Moderate. Now this will give the kids full editing rights, but I kind of like using this option when I want kids to talk back and forth actually on this channel, or on this wall. If the kids want to talk back and forth, they can edit each other's things, but usually they're pretty good about just replying back and forth and things of that nature. But for 99% of what you're going to do with Padlet with your students, I would definitely select this Can Write option. Once you've selected that, you can come to here and you can add contributors. So if you want a co-teacher to be in, or an instructional coach, or whatever it is, if you just want to add another contributor, you can insert the emails or usernames here. Once you're done with all that, you can click Next. And that's all it is. Then you can start posting. So when you explain this to your students, you can come down here to this little plus, and this is your post. So as a teacher, you can post a question or whatever your heart desires. You can also put a description here if you choose to. The great thing about Padlet is your students will find this too. They can make posts like this just as easy. The post can be anonymous. You can have them put their name attached to it, whatever you want to do, but they can add any type of file they choose. So if I go down here to the add attachments, you see they can search a picture from the web, they can search anything from the web, but they can also download any file they choose to. That's MP4, MP3, can be a doc, can be a PDF, whatever it is, or they can simply take a photo from their webcam right here, so they can put a face to their work. But I think that's good. That's the kind of the introduction to Padlet, or getting started with Padlet. I hugely recommend it. As a former classroom teacher, I really enjoyed working with it. Maybe one more thing I'd like to go over is the share option as well. You can hit share, and you see these options back up here, but you can also just go to share, export, embed if you choose to, copy the.
Next, Socrative. Socrative application is a web-based student responsive system which can be used as a learning medium in the classroom and facilitating teachers in all subjects designing interactive assessment instruments. Socrative as a learning application is very user-friendly, easy to access, features and display is very simple, so easy to learn. For the purpose of administering a quiz or Socrative, daily test can be an alternative because with Socrative, the teacher can save money, some things like saving time. Okay, next, advantages and disadvantages Socrative. Advantages. The system will provide the result of the item analyzed. This is very useful for teacher to see how valid it is question complete by the teacher himself. And second, Socrative is a low cost tool because users don't have to pay for a subscription and do not need to install application in our gadget. And third, easy quiz distribution. And fourth, learning is not only done in the classroom. And disadvantages. First, does not present a complete menu that can accommodate all users' needs. And second, not all students are able to apply it, so they must be given guidance first. And okay, here's a learning videos using Socrative.
Today we're going to be exploring more of the Socrative app, which is a web-based formative assessment tool that educators can use in their classrooms in grades kindergarten through 12th grade. And today what I really want us to focus on learning is how to launch our quizzes once we've created them in real time, as well as logging in as a student on that launched quiz so we can really see what our students are experiencing when they're taking those quizzes. So first, what I want us to do is on your smartphone or laptop, on your web browser, visit Socrative.com, and once we've had this page load, click on the teacher login in the upper right hand corner. And since we've already created accounts, our email and our password should be filled in, and we can click the sign in button. And every time that you log in now, since you've created an account, you will see this dashboard here. So today I want to show you how to launch our quiz once we've created them. So if you click the launch button, it should already be highlighted, is now click the quiz button, and it automatically is going to prompt this to start a new activity, and we want to click yes because this is going to restart a new launched quiz. So we're going to click the yes button, and from here it's going to give us our options. So these are the 3 quizzes that I've created in my account, and they live in the quiz folder, and so they're always going to pop up when we're asked to launch quizzes. And for today I want to select my science vocabulary quiz, so I'm going to click that and then the orange next button, And now it's going to ask me, well, what delivery method and settings do I want on this quiz that I'm about to launch? So there's 3 options for the delivery method. The first one is the instant feedback, and this is going to give students instant feedback on their answers, whether they were correct or not, after each question. The next one is going to be open navigation. So this is where students can skip over questions and come back to them later, so they won't get that instant feedback after each question that they submit. Rather, they'll get it at the end once they've submitted the entire quiz. The last option is the teacher paced. So this is where the teacher controls what questions being asked to each student at the same time. So what I want to do today is I usually choose the instant feedback. I find that the most helpful for students as well as for the teacher. So I'm going to click that, and when I click that delivery method, it automatically turns on the require name setting. So when the student logs in, they're required to write their name in, and it also turned on the show question feedback. Like I mentioned earlier, after each question, it's going to give them that feedback on whether they were correct or not. I'm also going to turn on the show final score because I find that helpful at the very end of the test. It tells them how many questions they got correct out of the total, as well as their percentage on that quiz. So once I have selected my delivery method and I've gone through the settings, I'm then going to click the start button. And when I click the start button, my quiz is now launched. And before we get the students logged in, it's important that you look at the upper top of your screen. It shows you your room name, and this is important for students because they need that to log in to this launched quiz. So you can write on the whiteboard or you can give it to them however is easy for you. So now that we have our quiz launched here, I'm going to open a new tab and show you how it's going to look for the students. So the students are going to visit Socrative.com. And what I love about this app is that they don't have to create an account. It's super easy for them to log into these quizzes. They just have to select the student login. And from here, this is that room name that I mentioned earlier you need to give your students. So mine was Elizabeth 6487. And now I've typed that in. I'm going to click join. And now it's going to ask for my name. So I'm going to type in my name and click the done. And now it automatically logs me into this quiz that the teacher has launched. So I'm going to go through each question by question and answer it at my own pace. And now this is that instant feedback that I mentioned earlier. So what it shows is it tells you if it's correct or not. It also restates the question, and it shows you the correct answer that the teacher has given. So then once you're done reading that, you can click OK, and it automatically goes into the next question. So this one's a true or false, so I'm going to select my answer and submit it. And again, this is that same feedback after each question. I'm going to click OK, and now this is the last question of my quiz. It always shows you in the upper left. So now this one's a short answer. So what it requires of the student is to click this box and then type in their answer to this question. And once they've typed it in, then they can hit the submit answer. And again, this is that instant feedback for this exact question. So once I'm done reading that, then I can click OK. And now this is the final score that we added in our settings. So it tells you that you finished your test, it gives you the score, so I got 3 out of 3 correct, and my percent was 100. So once they're done reading that, then they can click the OK button, and it takes them to this screen where it just tells them to wait for your teacher until all the students have finished their quizzes. So now, what I want to do now that this student has submitted their quiz, let's go back to the teacher view on my other browser. So now it shows the student's name, their progress, and for each question it tells you, the teacher, what they answered, and it's green if it's correct, and it will show up red if they've answered it incorrectly. So once all the students have submitted, then the teacher can go over here on the upper right. It says finish. So when you click finish, that now ends that launched quiz. And from here, you can get reports, you can view a chart that's very similar to that last screen that we saw, or you can relaunch or launch another quiz of your choice. So this was really how to launch our quizzes on the Socrative app, as well as what it looks like for our students when they do log in. If you need more resources or information, feel free to visit Socrative.com, and they have a help center and blogs and other resources that you're welcome to read and learn more about this app.
Okay, just an explanation from me. Thank you and stay healthy. Goodbye.